Picking up from part 1, here are some of my thoughts on how Nurmi matches up with Conor McGregor and Tony Ferguson. Before I proceed, be warned. This video is just my personal opinion, and anything can happen in a fight. So please don't get upset and start a war in the comments. I'm a fan of all three fighters, and have no dog in any of the fights. Awesome. With that disclaimer done, I will proceed to start throwing people under the bus now. It is tempting to extrapolate from Nurmi's performance last weekend, and conclude that he will do the same to Conor and Tony. That being said, I wonder how well prepared Barboza was for this fight. Because Barboza was not defending effectively, often Nurmi's plan A would overwhelm him, and Barboza would simply get buried deeper. In terms of wrestling, no big secrets. Nurmi's tactics are employed by a lot of the fighters at his gym, aka. In a nutshell, Nurmi is looking to trap you against the fence with an underhook. Here you can see Cain Velasquez, Luke Rockhold, and Daniel Cormier, employing this tactic. This is a position which they constantly look for, so that they can begin a series of moves. Once you are pinned, the non-underhooking arm now serves a dual purpose. It is either landing strikes, or is hunting for a body lock. When a body lock is on, you can be pulled off the cage and taken down. The other main threat is a sudden level change to a double. Getting your hips flattened against the cage, with both arms deep around them, is almost a certain takedown. Because of this triple threat, when you are pinned with the underhook against the cage, tracking the movement of the free arm is key. Here you can see a smaller Anderson Silva, controlling DC's free arm, while he is being pinned with the underhook. Hand fighting and stalling the cage pinner will trigger a response which will give you opportunities to escape. Here Werdum is controlling Cain's arm and stalling him out. Cain breaks contact to reset and Werdum escapes. Here you can see David Branch tracking the free arm, giving him time to react to Rockhold's sudden drop to a double. Barboza's counter to this tactic, however, was to try frame on Nurmi's throat. In fact, Barboza even doubles down on this structure, using his other hand to reinforce this frame. While this somewhat helped stop a level change to a double leg, this only stopped one of the options Nurmi had. Here you can see that because Barboza was not hand fighting, Nurmi had complete freedom to land strikes. While the drop to the double is stalled out, you are tiring out your arms fighting against Nurmi's body weight. You are also eating punches, for extended periods. Framing on the neck might work, but trying to tricep press against someone's body weight for 5 rounds is exhausting. Also, eating constant punches, and allowing the body lock as you fight for this frame isn't optimal. Barboza was obsessed with stopping the level change to the double, but he didn't exactly have a plan beyond digging underhooks and powering out of the clinch. Forcing the single leg, and timing your escape on the switch, is something Nurmi's next opponent will need. Trying to outpower Nurmi with underhooks is not a viable 5-round strategy. Wrestling defense is not just about fighting power with power. You also need to create situations and take these opportunities when they happen. Here RDA is pinned, but still hand-fighting and frustrating Nurmi's attempts to get a double leg. The moment Nurmi gives up, and takes the single instead, RDA is ready to make his move. He runs into the open space and limp legs out of the single leg. Again, RDA is pinned and is stalling Nurmi's double leg attempt. Nurmi gives up and takes the single instead. RDA runs into space and limp legs out, escaping the cage pin. Here DC runs to the open angle, as Rumble gives up and switches to the single. Barboza burned a lot of energy fighting off the double leg attempts of Nurmi. But the moment he got Nurmi to settle for a single, he didn't take the opportunity to flee. Instead, he kept framing on the neck to stop a level change, a low percentage defense, and ended up stuck in a pin again. Barboza found himself stuck in body locks, and taken down a number of times during the fight. His defense here again was one-dimensional. Namely, he primarily tried to pummel an underhook, and power out of the body lock. When the underhook was not there, typically it was a matter of time before he went down. Underhooks can work, but they need to be done early. Once the body lock is on, even a counter body lock is not going to work. Recognizing that the opportunity to use this defense is over, and moving on to the next defense is key. At the root of Barboza's wrestling issues here, was his unwillingness to give up his back when he got body locked. This apprehension cut off many important viable defenses. Instead, he was clinging onto whizzers, trying to stop Nurmi from going to his back, sealing his fate. Turning away allows you to bring both your hands into play. Now you can effectively hand fight to break the body lock. Here, against a body lock, look at how DC gives up his whizzer, so that he can turn away and tripod back to his feet. Finding the tripod ASAP allows you to quickly recover, so that you can look for an underhook. In this sequence, DC recognizes the situation and immediately turns away, looking for the tripod. He knows fighting for whizzers or underhooks here is a losing proposition. Turning away also opens up space for DC to escape, as he rises to his feet. Once he recovers, he looks for his underhooks. Turning away also gives you access to the Grand B-roll escape. Though probably too much to ask of Barboza, this too could possibly be a way out for Nurmi's future opponent. Against Barboza, Nurmi made it look easy. But the reality is, he was fighting someone without the wrestling depth to push him. Tony Ferguson is a completely different type of wrestler, and has all the tools to take on a technical wrestler with a strength advantage. I have already done a study on Tony, so do check that out if you're interested. In a nutshell, he has many layers of defense, like hand fighting, Grand B rolls, and spin-outs. Furthermore, unlike Barboza who made no attempt to play guard, Tony has a good guard, and is constantly looking to trap limbs as you strike. Closed guard is the Achilles heel of a tripod passer. It takes away the passer's mobility and keeps the head within range, so that you can grab it to break posture. When these two were originally matched up, bookmakers had Nurmi as a favorite. I do see these as fair odds, and I don't see the Barboza fight as good evidence that Nurmi should be an even bigger favorite. If anything, Tony Ferguson will have even more information with which to prepare for the fight. Anyways, in the next part, I will look at how Conor matches up with Nurmi, assuming that fight ever gets made. Till next time.